Our next great companion of the Prophet is Uthman ibn Affan, also known as Othman, or in Arabic, Othman al-Affan. He was an amazing man who was gentle, kind, and very generous. So much so that the Prophet called him the man of two lights. In this video, we will learn about his life, how he became Muslim, and what were some of his great contributions to Islam. Welcome to the series The Companions of the Prophet Muhammad, Episode 7, Uthman, the Man of Two Lights. Uthman was born in Mecca around 10 years before the beginning of the prophecy of Prophet Muhammad. His father, Affan, was from the tribe of Quraysh, while his mother, Arwa, was from the tribe of Murdada. Othman was only 2 to 3 years old when he lost his father, and he grew up under the care of his grandfather. Othman belonged to the elite of Mecca and was considered one of the most handsome and noble young men. He was also very wealthy as he inherited a lot of wealth from his father. At that time, the polytheists of Mecca were strongly opposing the message of Prophet Muhammad. They persecuted the Muslims severely. And when Othman grew up and became a successful merchant, he joined the boycott of the Prophet and his family. However, when Othman went on a business trip to Syria, he met a Muslim named Luqman who was preaching Islam. Luqman told Othman about the message of Prophet Muhammad and invited him to become Muslim. Othman accepted Islam and became the first important leader from Quraysh to enter Islam. He returned to Mecca and began spreading the message of Islam. Soon, many from his own family and tribe became Muslim. When the Muslims migrated to Medina, Othman stayed behind to look after the affairs of the Muslims in Mecca. He played a vital role in supporting the Muslims during the second year in Islam. After the Battle of Uhud, the polytheists intensified their attacks on the Muslims in Mecca. So Othman decided to migrate to join Prophet Muhammad in Medina. On his way, he stopped at a place called Al-Rabada and embraced Islam publicly there. Othman was one of the few Muslims who could read and write. So when he came to Medina, he helped writing the Constitution of Medina, which was a set of rules for the society of Medina. After becoming Muslim, Uthman started calling on all the rich Muslims to donate for the cause of Islam. The Prophet praised him and said, "Uthman is like me. He calls people to give in charity for the cause of Allah." When the tribes of Arabia heard about this new system of Islam, which was based on equality, justice, and compassion, they started accepting Islam in large numbers. To counter this, the polytheists of Mecca formed a military alliance to attack the Muslims of Medina. This alliance was called the Confederation of Quraysh. When the Allies attacked Medina, a battle took place called the Battle of the Trench. It was a very difficult battle for the Muslims because the winter season had begun and a big ditch was dug during the battle to protect the Muslims from the attacks of the enemy. So the Muslims spent a month in that trench and they were exposed to extreme cold, hunger, and thirst. Othman and another companion, Abu Darda, noticed that the archers were bored and not performing their duty properly because they were hungry. So, without telling anyone, Othman and Abu Darda went out at night to look for food. They found some wild onions and dates and distributed it among the archers. This kept the archers motivated and strengthened the ranks of the Muslims. The battle ended in a great victory for the Muslims, thanks to the efforts of Uthman. Othman was a very generous person, and he loved spending money for the sake of Allah. Once, when Muslims were having a hard time in Medina, Prophet Muhammad sent him to Mecca to see how the Muslims there were doing. Uthman found that they were struggling to get water, so he bought a well and made it free for everyone. Another time, there was a famine in Medina and people were struggling to find food. Uthman donated hundreds of camels filled with food and distributed it among the poor and needy. When the Prophet saw what Uthman was doing, he praised him and said, "There are 3 qualities. If a person has them, no one will ever excel him: generosity, bravery, and a good character." Another great thing that Othman did was expanding the Mosque of Medina. It was built by Prophet Muhammad himself with the help of some companions, but soon it became too small for the growing number of Muslims. so Othman renovated and expanded the mosque and made it a beautiful place of worship. Apart from his great generosity, Othman was also known for his gentleness and kindness. The Prophet once said, "Othman is the most gentle of all men. He was so kind that even his enemies loved him." Once during the Battle of Yamama, when Prophet Muhammad was fighting against the polytheists, he saw Othman approaching him. The Prophet stopped fighting and went to receive Othman. Othman became Muslim after this battle and later became one of the 3 people to whom the Prophet revealed the entire Quran. Othman was the only non-Arab among these 3. As the number of Muslims kept increasing, the need to preserve the Quran became very important. At that time, the Quran was being sent down in parts over a period of 23 years. The Prophet appointed Othman as the 3rd caliph after Abu Bakr and Umar, so Othman was responsible for preserving the Quran and ensuring that the Muslims all over the world had access to its teachings. He made copies of the Quran and sent them to different lands so that the Muslims could read and follow it. This effort led to the creation of the first official version of the Quran. It's also reported that Othman established the first public library in Islam, where people could come and read books. Once Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, narrated a story about Othman's generosity. She said, "I have never seen anyone as generous as Othman. One day he called me and said, 'Aisha, I want to marry your sister. Would you be happy with that?' I said, 'Of course.' He married my sister and gave her half of his wealth. Then he called my brother and said, 'I want to marry your sister. Would you be happy with that?' My brother said, 'Yes, of course.' Othman married my other sister and gave her half of his wealth. Then he came to me and said, 'Aisha, I want to marry your sister. Would you be happy with that?' I said, 'Othman, I think you have given away too much of your wealth already.' Othman replied, 'By Allah, if I had 1,000 camels, I would give 999 of them for the sake of Allah. I love your sisters, and I want to marry them all.' So Othman married 4 of the Prophet's daughters, one after the other. So people called him the Man of 2 Lights. During the Khilafah of Othman, the Muslims faced many challenges. Some people from Iraq wanted to make their governor, who was Muslim, the caliph. When Othman refused to accept his nomination, they rebelled against him. Soon, more than 80 of the companions of the Prophet, including 4 of his sons, joined the rebellion. Othman was very sad to see the companions rebelling against him. He didn't want to use force to put them down, so he decided to go to the Kaaba to perform Hajj. While he was on his way to Kaaba, he was killed by the rebels. His body was buried in Jannat al-Baqi, which is near the Prophet's mosque in Madinah. Othman's life shows us that generosity, gentleness, and faith can win the hearts of people and bring blessings that last forever. May Allah Almighty be pleased with Othman and grant us the ability to follow in his footsteps. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, share it, and comment below. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.